We're all feeling the economic pinch at the moment. So I wanted to bust the myth that home preparing your dog or cat's diet always has to be expensive. Yes, you could definitely go all out if you wanted to, but it is also possible to make a delicious and nutritious food at home for your pet in a way that doesn't have to break the bank. I want to share with you a recipe for an economical and healthy meal that would cost less than a cup of coffee a day, or less than $4.50 a day for an average size 15-kilo dog. Now, I didn't want to cheat, so I used standard prices that you would get shopping at the 2 largest grocery stores in Australia, and nothing that was on special. So the cost per day could be even lower if you were buying in bulk or shopping in a store that has slightly lower prices. If you're worried that this recipe is still too much, no worries at all, because we think fresh feeding as a topper or as a special meal once a week can have a lot of benefits as well. We'll put a link in below to an article as to why every dog and cat could benefit from having a fresh meal once a week. Now, this chicken, egg, and quinoa recipe I'm going to make with you is suitable for adult dogs, and I'm super excited to show you just how easy it is to make. So we're going to start by cooking the quinoa. Quinoa truly is a superfood with how nutrient-packed it is. It's full of fiber for gut health in addition to essential minerals such as magnesium, iron, and zinc. Now, to cook it, you want to use a ratio of 2:1 or 3:1, so 2 or 3 parts water for every part of quinoa. So in this case, I'm going to add 300 ml of water to the pot. Cook at a simmer for about 10 to 15 minutes until the quinoa is cooked thoroughly. If you're finding that the water is getting absorbed, but the quinoa is still not cooked through, add a bit more water and continue cooking. Thoroughly cooked quinoa has a completely translucent body without a white center. And also, you'll notice that they have this germ ring, this white germ ring, that will be broken when it's properly cooked. Next, I'm going to show you a trick on how to cook an egg and poached chicken breast and chicken liver all in the same pot. To start, I'm going to add a cold egg from the fridge into the pot and add cool tap water, just enough to cover it on the top. Whoops, it's a little bit spillage there. Then I'm going to get it up to a boil, and after that we're going to add our meats. So I'm going to add 100 grams of chicken liver, and 200 grams of chicken breast. Now allow the water to come back up to a boil if it had stopped, and then after a minute of this, pop the lid on, shut off the stove, and let it sit undisturbed for 20 minutes. While that's sitting there, I'm going to steam some carrots, so about 150 grams. After 20 minutes, remove your chicken breast, liver, and egg from the pot. Once cool enough to touch, chop the chicken breast into bite-sized pieces that are appropriate for your dog. You'll see how juicy the chicken remains after poaching it. Do the same for the chicken liver, creating the right size pieces for your dog. Next, for the egg. What you're going to do is that you're going to carefully remove the shell. Now, we'll have 2 options for you to balance this recipe. The first option is to use human supplements, which will also include using eggshell. What you want to do is to make ground eggshell. So you're going to let these pieces of eggshell dry, and then grind it into a powder using a coffee grinder or a mortar and pestle. Now, if you're balancing this recipe using our CompleteMe Canine meal completer, you can discard the eggshell as you won't need it. Now it's time to mix. Grab your bowl and add your chopped chicken breast and chicken liver. Then you're going to add your cooked quinoa. After this, you're going to grab your chopped eggs and add those in. And followed by your steamed carrots. Then we're going to add 70 grams of thawed frozen spinach. If you find that the leaves are still really big, use scissors to snip them into smaller pieces. Next, I'm going to add 8 grams of sunflower seeds that have been ground, again using a coffee grinder or a mortar and pestle. Grinding them does help with digestibility. And finally, I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of olive oil. Then, mix well, making sure everything is incorporated. As I mentioned before, there are 2 options to balance this recipe. One is using human supplements, and the other is using our meal completer. For human supplements, this is a combination of crushed multivitamins, iodized salt, and the ground eggshell. For the CompleteMe Canine meal completer, you only need to just use 1 supplement. Please choose one or the other in order to balance this recipe. You're going to sprinkle your supplement on and then mix well, making sure that it's well incorporated throughout all the food. And there you have it. This recipe makes about 1 kilogram of food, and I would need to feed my 15-kilogram dog about 700 grams a day to meet their energy requirements. You can get the full recipe with instructions below and a link to our feeding calculator to work out how much you would need to feed your own dog. Now, we hope your pup will love it, and thanks so much guys, and we'll see you next time.